Hi, hello, and good evening. It is, what is this, January 16th, and we are celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but we are also celebrating the Traitors. We're super excited to discuss this. And we're talking about the American version on tonight. Okay, we are well versed in the Traitors. All right, we did watch the Australian version. We did watch the UK version. Well, Gina did not. She opted out. But
I'll get there eventually.
but John and I are very quite apprised here. So yeah, super excited to talk about this tonight. So yeah, whatever. Let's just do it. You like our truncated theme? Yes.
Short and sweet.
I am Kyle Petty, and as always, I am joined by my festy besties. I will always let that ride. Gina Morgino and John Dunphy. And tonight we're talking about the Traitors here on Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Presumptuous, we know. You can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod or on our finally updated website, stratchatpod.com. Okay. I opted to stay home today from the Sherry Shepherd show so that I could update the website. Just so that I could update the website.
Oh no.
Oh, hi, Matt.
Hi,
Hi.
I love this. My faithfuls.
I gotta say though, if I were to play the Traitors, I would actually want to play as a faithful. I don't think
So
I wouldn't turn down a traitor. But you know.
no spoilers, but like
Mhm.
the whole time I was like, I would love to be a traitor until the last like 5 minutes of the finale. And then I was like, no, I can't. No way. Absolutely not. I cannot be a traitor. No, thank you. I don't want to do that.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about it. Those of you who are new to the Traitors, you know, this is a very fun, new, exciting game. Apparently it's another Dutch game. I'm not going to say what the name is. I'm not going to say what it. Because I don't know how to say it. No offense to the Dutch. But this game is basically played. I'm sorry.
I said that's fine. I wouldn't know how to say it either.
Yeah, no. And anyone who does, you know, you're welcome to pop on the stream. Actually, you're not. But so this game, basically the goal is to banish those that you believe are traitors, right? Because you're working to complete these missions throughout the course of the game, and you're adding money to the team pot. If you get to the end and one or more traitors are remaining, the traitors will take all of the monies. If you have banished all traitors, then the faithful will split said monies. So, you know, we have 20 people entering the castle, 10 newbies, and 10 reality TV titans. Okay. I know it sounds like a really bad commercial. They're moving into the castle, and they don't know who is going to be selected as a traitor and such until our host extraordinaire. Okay. Mr. Alan Cumming. Let's get a picture of this man.
Yeah.
Honestly, what a
Such
star.
a gem. A gem.
Yeah,
I've
him.
always loved him so much. So I was so excited to see him in this, and he didn't disappoint even a little bit.
Absolutely fantastic. Really, really fun.
Just like the drama that he brings to everything. Just it's perfect.
It's fantastic. And I will say that level of drama is really that is delivered in every iteration of the Traitors. Okay. Roger from Australia. That was his name, right?
Yes.
Very dramatic. Really, really brings a lot of the theater. But I have to say, I still think my favorite was Claudia from the UK.
Claudia was really fantastic. Yeah.
Favorite is strong. Roger is definitely the lowest of the three, but again, we are not talking. This is not a slamming. I mean, the bar is set very high. Roger is the original as far as we're concerned, because we don't know the Dutch. Okay. But yeah, great host. So that's how the game is played. Matt says, the host with the most kilts now for Alan. So that's how this one starts. Obviously, we're not gonna go through every single person, like what we think about them moving in. But is there anyone from this cast that just on your first impressions, like moving into this castle, you know, who moved you, who grooved you? What are you thinking? What were you thinking? Did
Oh
anybody
man.
excite you,
So
or you didn't give two
well,
craps?
no. Well, here's the thing. It's funny because unlike the UK and Australia, we like we were very familiar or like somewhat familiar with half of this cast. So like right off the bat, I was super excited to see people obviously like Rachel Riley and
Oh,
Cody,
absolutely,
because of Big
Queen
Brother,
Rachel. Mhm,
especially Queen
mhm.
Rachel, yeah. And
Well,
then even people like like Ryan Lochte, like I know that he like like I was excited to see him again on a show because he's been
I was
on
really
Celebrity
excited to.
Big Brother, right?
Yeah,
And
I
and
kind of like him. I like him.
yeah, and I know that he's like this guy that's just like totally aloof, and like he's just there really to have fun. But like
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know, he just adds something to the show that's like, because especially in a show like this that's so like tense. Like Ryan Lochte coming in and right away he's looking for a secret door in the bookshelves and stuff. He can bring like a
But like you're seeing just like all of this drama and people at each other's throats all the time, and he's just so goofy. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Listen.
What are you doing here?
He's never here for a long time, but he is. But he's here for a good time.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, Queen Suri.
Suri,
See,
yeah,
I did not
yeah.
know her
You didn't know
prior
her.
to this,
You
so
didn't know
I
her.
didn't
Right.
have any opinion on her.
Same.
Mm. See, I did
Um,
see her play Survivor once. I was not unfamiliar with her. But this was certainly a masterclass now, wasn't it? Of course we'll get to all these things.
I'm
Um,
I'm trying to think of like a newbie though that like caught my. I mean, Christian as like a very big personality coming in saying he was a veteran. Like he
Mhm.
definitely was somebody that I was like, all right, let's see what Christian does, because it seems like he just never stops, never stops talking, never stops
No.
gaming.
Mhm.
So he caught
Exhausting.
my interest right away. Yeah, no, seriously, exhausting.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gina, what do you got? I'm trying to think if any other newbies like caught my interest right away.
Well, again,
but-
and I was talking about this with you guys earlier, and I mentioned this to Kyle before too. The newbie that caught my eye was Angelica, because I already knew who she was from other things. Because
Right.
she's Tommy Bracco's cousin. She ran his social media while he was in the Big Brother house, and then also runs his podcast with him. So right away, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pay attention to her because she's somebody that I know."
Is that the Let's Talk pod, right?
Real talk.
Oh, Real Talk. Okay.
Real talk.
Okay. It was something with talk.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
You were just really excited to say talk.
Yeah, the Staten Island really popped out.
Yeah. Okay. I was intrigued by Michael just because of his accent. I like the accent. I just really enjoyed hearing him speak. It's really fun.
Oh, you know who else I liked right from the beginning for whatever reason? Shelby.
Who's that?
I don't know why.
Shelby.
I really
Mm.
I liked Shelby like from the get for whatever reason.
Okay.
She was somebody that I just was rooting for right off the bat. Yeah.
I didn't have any strong feelings for or against. No strong feelings. All right. So everybody meets. They kibitz outside, and then they head right on into the banishment room, right? And they sit down at the round table there. And Alan selects his traitors. Okay, this is where he selects his traitors. And selected were Cody. It was Cody, the lady Suri, and Christian, as you said. All C names. Anybody catch that?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I did. Nice
I
alliteration.
did not, honestly. Like until now that you bring it up.
All right. I don't support this.
Oh.
Matt's hats off for Quiet Queen Azra. I don't understand why. I do not support quiet people on reality TV.
Oh no.
Sorry. No, I
liked
don't
her, though.
understand it.
I feel like in a game like this though, laying low isn't a terrible strategy.
It's not a terrible strategy if that was actually your strategy. That is not was not the vibes that I was getting from Azra.
To be fair, we didn't get enough in the edit of any of the non-reality stars to really know what their strategy was. So like if you're giving her the benefit of the doubt, maybe she was intentionally being like, I'm gonna lay low.
Well,
But-
I think we did because I was rewatching some of this, and we did get a few morsels, a few crumbs from Azra that this was her strategy.
Mhm.
There was a point where a lot of people were going in on Michael at one point, namely Kate and Brandy, as we'll get into more, I'm sure. And Azra and Angelica actually got up and left the room. They were like, I don't want to be
Yes.
part of that. Like, and then Azra made a comment also later on saying like some people are more quiet and more reserved because they want to sit back and listen to what people are saying and they want to have an intelligent conversation, but they want to take everything in also. And then also she kind of mentioned that like when there are such big personalities in the room, sometimes the quiet people can get drowned out because, you know, when people like Christian and Kate and Brandy are all jumping in and talking a lot, it's hard for someone else to break in. I caught that from
also,
Azra.
you know,
I'm sure it
and,
is.
And you see it in like as the season unfolds of the people that are the loudest about this is what I think and that person's a traitor and whatever, that immediately puts the spotlight on you because it's like, all right, well, why are you fighting so hard to get other people out?
Right.
It's much smarter to kind of lay low, let those people go at each other, and then every once in a while just interject like, yeah, it's interesting how this, and then kind of like fade back out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. You say so. We never finished explaining what this game was also, by the way.
Oh, did we not? Oh my God.
No, so the traitors are selected, right? And after this, right? So now they're working to basically murder people overnight. Anybody who's on to them, catching on, you know, hot on their tail, murdering them overnight, and then working to also work with the faithfuls to have them banished, because obviously they don't want this banishment to affect them. Obviously, they want to stay in. The vote is public. That makes for like a lot of great television. And you also have to give a reason as far as why you are voting to evict. Why you sadly vote. Why you sadly vote. So with that, episode 1, we only saw a mission in this one, right? We saw this mission in the UK version.
Yes.
You know, this was the lighting of the big beastie thing.
Mm.
You know, by getting you little ropes and things and connecting them and dipping them in the flammable liquid and giving it a little torches. You had to get your flame from the man outside in the water. I know you like how I run down missions. It's very different. So yeah. Thoughts on this? Who cares, right? We added money to the bank.
Right, and that's like the
$30,000.
unfortunate. That's the unfortunate piece about the format of this show is like, because the traitors also are trying to win the same prize pot, there's really no incentive to like, you know, it's not like the mole where you're trying to sabotage missions or like keep money out of their hands because it puts money in our pot. Like there's no like 2 separate pots or anything like that. So like, and there's also like, there's 2 different teams, but there's not really a competition between who does better versus who doesn't, or
not until later in the season anyway.
Well, sure, but you know, there's all like there's not really anything of like, oh, this person's suspicious because they weren't doing well in the mission. So up until like later in the season, these competitions are kind of irrelevant. Like they're cute to watch, but they don't really mean much.
Exactly. They move the episode along,
but some of the things that are happening during the competition are fun to watch. So like,
I had a good time watching them. It's just not like you don't have to analyze them, you know?
Right. But certain things do play like a role though, because like, and we'll get into it, but like, as this competition is going on and like it's just kind of fun watching them like work together or whatever, you're getting Reza screaming his head off and Michael saying something which then turned into information that was being spread around by Geraldine because, well, Reza was screaming and Michael kind of went back at him, and now this turns into Geraldine said this, and now, you know what I mean? Like, so like, while like the competition itself was kind of like, all right, well, you don't have people working against each other or competing against each other. They're all competing for the same prize to add to the pot, the collective pot. Like things that go on within the competition now influence what will happen at banishment and will happen once the traitors murder somebody. So yeah.
I do agree with that, I guess. That's fair. That's fair. Well, in my rewatch of this, I skipped all the challenges. So if there's anything noteworthy in there, you're not going to hear it from me. So yeah, totally missed that. But yeah, so do you have anything else that's noteworthy from the Lighting of the Beast mission?
No, I don't think so.
This one was pretty straightforward, I feel like.
Right.
I enjoyed Kate though, because she was on the boat but not rowing or didn't have the torch or anything, and she was like, I'm used to being on much bigger boats, but I think this boat's my favorite because I don't have to do anything.
I gotta be honest, I really thought from the jump that I was gonna hate Kate. Just like the
Me
way
too.
that she like the energy she gave off, I was like, oh, she's gonna be awful. I'm gonna hate her so much. She is the funniest person on this show. I
I
love
had a
Kate.
rough road with Kate. I have to be honest.
Oh, really?
I ended this liking her, but there was a moment in between that I thought her behavior was just honestly it's just so repugnant that
Oh, she's terrible, but like
it was
as a
horrible.
character,
Like,
it was so
yeah, as a
funny.
character, it's great. But I was embarrassed because if you watch like the international versions of this, like you did not get people who acted like this. And I was like, of course, America is going to put up the version of the Traitors that has a person that's acting like this. I'm like, this just looks so bad. I was like, this is not how we are, but it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I I completely agree with you, and like
Mhm.
I was so up and down with Kate like throughout the season, and I would even agree with like the word you used to describe how she was acting at times, repugnant. But but what I will say is by the end of the season, even like her repugnant behavior is what made me love her so much.
Right,
Yes,
right.
I agree with that. I'm telling you, I did turn a real corner with her. But there was
And-
absolutely a time I looked at Tommy, I just went, she is just disgusting. It's just she's acting like an animal.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
cannot.
And I tweeted it actually. I was like, Kate is literally she is the biggest villain and the biggest hero of the season, and I love her so much. I love her so much.
Matt saying how he couldn't deal with the sunglasses at breakfast every morning. All right, I don't want to like jump around too much in this season,
Mhm.
but like honestly, the moment that I started to turn around with her was like, I don't know what morning it was. It's not an episode that we'll get to tonight, but it was definitely a for our midnight stream when she walked in with the sunglasses and everybody's like, woo woo, Kate, yay, and she's like. She's like, well, despite my best efforts, I'm
It was
still
just
here.
truly like this woman was begging the entire season, like, someone please murder me or send me home. I don't want to be here anymore. Why won't you just like please like get me out of here, send me home? I don't want to be here anymore. And they just, even though people were suspecting her as a traitor, like no one would let her leave. And she's like, I
No.
don't want to be here. Why can't I go home?
Yeah, it's honestly incredible. It's
It really was. Yeah, we'll definitely get more into Kate because it was some of the things that happened in these episodes we'll be discussing tonight that really led to her decline and
Mhm.
disinterest in the
Sure.
Traitors. Yeah. Well, that really brings us into episode 2, right? Because we really didn't have anybody leaving us. Episode 1 it was really not
Yeah.
eventful except for the
It was
light.
like the cliffhanger before the
Right.
murder.
So we were forced with our Traitors met. Oh, that was a fun moment. You know, because the Traitors knew who they were, but they didn't know who each other was. And now we've got Cody saying all day long how he cannot stand Christian. Christian is so extremely annoying. Can't stand him, can't stand him, can't stand him. And then, you know, much to his chagrin, he'll be playing the game alongside him because they were all selected to be Traitors.
It was just so funny because you see him get so amped about Suri, and he's so excited. Then he turns around to Christian's there and he goes, no, that guy.
He actually
Fine.
he actually said like a little confessional. He was like, I turned, I saw Suri, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to work with her. And then I turned to my left and I saw Christian, and I thought, this is a nightmare.
What did you think of? And I'm sure we're going to get into it more. I'm sure, but like initially, did you buy Cody and his whole? I felt like this was like a image rehabilitation like tour. Like
Ugh.
I did not believe for 1 second that Cody was having that hard of a time being deceitful and lying to
Oh.
people and all this stuff. Like him crying and carrying on. Like, did you buy any of that?
He got really emotional and it really
Right?
threw me.
I was like-
it really threw me.
I was like, who are you?
I was
It's
like, you
like,
played
dude,
Big Brother twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yes, and I can't. I still have nothing positive to say about any time you were in there. There was no relationship that he formed that I thought was redeeming. Nothing that I thought was at all like noteworthy.
I mean, I
nothing
never
nice at all.
disliked Cody, but I wouldn't say I loved Cody.
I don't know. After All Stars and the way that they all made fun of
Yeah.
made fun of Ian, like I'm
Yeah, but-
sorry, like it just.
Cody's side of the house was shitty, but I didn't like he wasn't a part of it. It was just like the side of the house that he was on. Unless I'm misremembering.
I don't know. I've just never been a big fan of
Misremembering
his.
also. Yeah, I don't know. If we have to take one of the brothers, give me Paulie.
See, and I don't know Farley from home also.
Give me Paulie, give me Kara, let's go. That's a different conversation. So anyway, episode 2, they were discussing who they wanted to murder. And their main goal was just to create chaos, right? Because we don't really know anybody yet. This game has just started. So let's go for somebody that no one would expect. And the murdered individual was Reza, hailing to us from Shahs of Sunset.
That's right.
What do we think of this? Did this mean anything to you? I thought it was noteworthy that the man cried. He was really upset.
I liked Reza. He was very enthusiastic.
Excited.
Very enthusiastic.
Happy to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really feel one way or the other about him. I didn't know him prior to this, so I didn't really care.
I didn't know. Yeah. Sorry.
But I will say that this now at breakfast started a conversation between people, because this is when Geraldine started to now say to some people, oh, maybe Michael's a traitor because Michael and Reza had an argument at the last challenge, and now Reza's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which, to your point, this is why the missions are important. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I put my foot in my mouth. I'm sorry. I will not disrespect the missions anymore. And next time when I skim through, I won't skip it. So there's that. But no, I did watch the episode for real.
Right.
That was a rewatch. Okay, so yeah, that is what happened at breakfast. And that is kind of what started some Geraldine nonsense as well. This actually did not bode so well for the Lady Geraldine. But I wanted to see, this is when I wanted to use too many tabs. Not used to running these anymore. Geraldine, there she is. And this is really going to be very, very noteworthy soon.
Oh my God.
So this is our next challenge, right? This one is really fun. This is the one we were playing hide and seek out in the woods.
That's right.
Yes, and our hiders had to be buried alive. And then we had our seekers.
The way my anxiety would have ruined this game for everyone.
Yeah, I would love to talk about this. If you were being forced to play this hide and seek game, what side do you want to be on?
I am a seeker. I am not getting in that thing. No way. Not happening.
I'm a hider.
Here too.
I'm a hider. You could not get me to not get in there. If I had found out that that's what they would do and I would have swapped with somebody, wouldn't running down the road.
Absolutely.
I want to be buried alive so bad. I think that's so fun. That's so
that
cool
is crazy.
Listen,
my walkie-talkie and then just lay there for 45 minutes. Peace and quiet, no talking.
I listen. I agree with you, Kyle. And my thing though isn't just that I want to be buried alive. It's that all right. I'm on a TV show. There's no way they're gonna let me die. So I'm gonna sit in here. I'm gonna lay down for 45 minutes while all these other fools run around looking for me, sweating.
I know my anxiety would get the better of me. There's no way I'm getting in that thing. Not a chance.
I always wanted to be buried. I also wanted to be buried in the sand, at the beach, they do on TV, when they put Joey in the sand. I always wanted that.
Well, that's fine because my head would be out in the world. If I'm completely buried in that thing, no way.
I think that's cool. And then they throw the
listen. You got to just.
Cool.
I'm sure it would be a little weird. I'd probably be a little nervous too. But then I'd remember I'm on a TV show on Peacock. They're not going to let me die in this grave.
Nope, I would just be running. I'd be running towards it, like, Kyle, no, it's not time yet. I'm like, bollocks.
Bollocks.
So stupid. Yeah, so Matt says I'd be buried alive, and then I didn't have to get maggots put. The maggots were not until later. We only had dirt.
Oh God, we'll get there.
We'll get to the maggots. So that was that. It doesn't matter who was buried. It doesn't matter anything. We added 20,000 to the pot. That brought us to a grand total of 50,000, and that brings us now to our next banishment ceremony.
What did you think, though? So it was during this competition. Michael was running around a lot, saying Geraldine's name.
You're right.
So there was a couple. It was just two things and I want to just see how you guys would respond if somebody did this to you in the middle of a challenge like this on a show. So one was Michael running up to Kate saying, like it's Geraldine, right? Like you have to vote to banish Geraldine because if you don't, then I'll banish you next. That was one thing that he said.
Mhm.
And then later on, Kyle was buried. Literally the second he came out of that, like out of the grave, out of the little coffin or whatever, Michael was like, "So we're voting to banish Geraldine, right?" Like, what would you have done if somebody? I would have been so pissed. It's like, shut
what
up, man.
Why on
So pissed with which
earth?
one? I think I'd have a different response depending on which one now.
I think with both of them. Like, I've been buried for 45 minutes in the ground. I don't know what's going on. Don't run up to me and say you're voting for this person, right? Like, where am I? Like, is the challenge over? Can we talk about this later? Like, what's happening? And then with the Kate thing, I'd be, I think, equally pissed. Like, don't come over here and threaten me that you're gonna get me out of this game if I don't vote the way that you tell me to vote
But
right
also,
now.
like, what a stupid thing to say, because if you give someone an ultimatum like that, vote how I want you to vote, or else. Obviously, I'm gonna think, oh, so you're gonna murder me because you're a traitor. Like, what a
Right. Okay. I
stupid way to
do
go
want to
about
defend
it.
this a little bit. This is why I wanted to ask which one you were asking about, because I do want to defend this a little, because we don't know the context in which this was said. There are definitely a lot of other little conversations that we are not privy to. So I
Mhm.
don't know what the joking relationship was between the two of them. Obviously, that's not how Kate took it, but I also don't necessarily see Kate as a person that would always take that joke so well. Or any joke really like very well. So I think it could be just more of a misjudged thing on Michael's part, not necessarily that like what he said was so wrong. Because like if I thought that we had a friendly rapport and we were just joshing around, like we're just having a good time, I would have thought I was being cute. And I think
Mm.
that's kind of what he said when this came up in the banishment ceremony. That is kind of what he said. He's like, I'm an anxious person. That's just how I bring
But
things
this is
up.
also like what, day 2? Like, you don't know any of these people well enough to know A, how they're gonna take it, or B, like, you don't know what their
Right.
sense of humor is. Like, you can't just make jokes like that on a show where you're trying to find a murderer.
No, agreed. It was definitely a misstep, but I don't think it was like, I don't think it was as stupid as they all made it sound. Like it could have been something friendlier that was just made into a larger thing because I already think you're a traitor. Now, as far as Kyle just coming out, yeah, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. I just got out. Okay, I just got out. I still have dirt on my shirt.
I was just
Like,
in a box underground
exactly.
for
Let me
45
clean
minutes.
up.
Don't you
Let me
tell me
clean up for a
nothing.
minute. Okay, make my eyes to readjust, right? Because your eyes probably like, and that's the first thing you see. Because your
Right.
eye.
This crazy man yelling at you
Yes,
to
like
banish
that
somebody.
definitely would annoy
It's
me.
like,
The thing comes up, there's dirt in your eyes. You're like, who are you voting for? I'm like, yo, bro, like Biden. I don't know.
yeah.
What are we talking about?
I actually feel like it's so early in the game too. Like to Gina's point, like what is it, day 2? Like Kyle jumps out of this coffin. This guy comes up like, we're voting Geraldine, right? I'd be like, who the hell is Geraldine? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
That is so true. That is so true. I don't know a Geraldine. That's great. I thought I heard noise.
We're echoing somewhere.
Oh, could be me. Could be my fault. I hope not. Hope it's one of you. All right. So the banishment. Was there anything else that we remember like that really stands out? Matt. It's like when people are too peppy in the morning. Please calm down. I literally just regained consciousness. Yeah. Tommy and I had to learn this about each other. Simply because I see you at the coffee pot does not mean we're having conversations.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. No. This is a pour and walk. It's a pour and walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah.
I guess, I mean, from the banishment, it seemed like everybody was throwing out Geraldine and Michael's names, and they were kind of going back and forth. And but I the only thing that I was surprised by is that it didn't really seem to be like Geraldine like defended herself or stood up for herself much
No.
in any way. She was very, very
No.
quiet for someone who was clearly on the chopping block.
I think
But-
she was just very jarred by the entire thing. Her every facial expression she made was like a deer in headlights,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
fun
Just,
fact that I learned today. Apparently, on the first day when they were just getting to the castle, somebody else was supposed to be on the season caught COVID like day 1, and they had to bring in an alternate, and that alternate was Geraldine. So she really was not ready to be there and be a part of this game at all.
she's like, she shows up at this castle in Scotland. She was like, I thought this was Love Island.
Ooh, that got Kyle real good.
No, because it almost came out of my nose. Oh, it's burning. Because she's literally looking around like, where am I?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, Rachel Riley is telling me I'm a traitor.
Like, because I was watching like Winter Circle earlier, and Cody was talking about how like they had filmed all this stuff of them getting on the train and meeting each other for the first time, and they just scrap all that footage because by the time they got to the castle, like someone had tested positive for COVID. So like
The train was unboarded.
Right. So she like didn't even meet anybody yet, like just like got thrown in day one as an alternate, like when everybody else was like preparing for this mentally, and she was just kind of like, what's going on?
Although, I mean, you're preparing to be in it as an alternate. It does mean you applied. It means you are not unaware, okay? Because you know who else was an alternate?
Who's that?
Joseph Abden, attorney at law.
Yes, but my point is like they had already been filming for a full day. And then she got thrown in.
Oh,
you know
is
what I'm
that
saying?
how that
like,
happened?
Yeah, they had already filmed a bunch of stuff of them meeting and taking the train into the castle together, but it all got scrapped because this other dude was in all the footage.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense too, because that is how UK started, and the entire format of this version of the Traitors is really modeled after that. Like, this is the same castle, the same rolling hills, the same challenges, and they all did absolutely meet at that train station. I forgot all about that. Okay, all right, but still, the game is still the game. So even if you're jarred, I mean, it's not like there's anything happening here that you didn't already expect to happen, or hope to happen. So like, yeah, you've definitely done a disservice. That's unfortunate for her. That's unfortunate. Certainly, because bonds have already formed. Too bad. Justice for Geraldine. Oh, well. So anyway, yeah, she left us. Yeah. We didn't officially say, but there she goes.
Yeah, but not without 15 different versions of her name being written on that blackboard.
My God, this was bad.
It was really bad.
But it's like, like me and Kyle were talking about this. Like, you see her name on like the way her name is spelled is exactly how I would think it's spelled. Like, where was this much confusion coming from?
Right.
It's
Gerald.
It's just the name Gerald. Exactly. Gerald with an I-N-E.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
We're not
Tangerine.
We're not hooked on
Geraldine. So I'm actually bummed. Yeah, I'm bummed, honestly, because I actually thought Geraldine she seemed like a very sweet girl. Thought she, and it just felt like there was so much attention on so many other people, and because all she said was, I think Michael had a fight with Reza, she became like the biggest target all of a sudden out of nowhere for no reason.
She had nothing to say for herself.
Yeah, at all. Right, like she barely said it. Well, that's the thing too. That's what's funny about it, is that she said nothing. And then she said, I think Michael had a fight with Reza. And then she said nothing else. Gone.
Yep.
Yeah. She didn't know what to do.
Yeah, no, she made one comment about things that were going on with much bigger personalities than her own. And that one comment got her sent home.
Yep.
I kind of feel bad for her.
I couldn't believe it. Like, seeing how much attention was on the bigger personalities, I was like, this is who we're all deciding to gang up on right now. Like, this person who has nothing to contribute to this conversation.
It's like Kate is so sure about Michael, and Brandy is so sure about Michael. Quentin is so sure about Kate. Everybody's speaking up, being so loud, so vocal. Geraldine goes, I did see Michael have a fight with Reza. Everybody's like, Geraldine, gotta go. Yeah. Sorry, get out of here. You're a traitor.
Yeah. I mean, she could have at least just driven that. See, here's the problem that I think Faithful face is that, like, I'm going to defend Geraldine now a little bit. I'm pivot. And mainly because, like, what does, and Rachel did address it like later on in this season, but it's like, how do I convince you that I am not a traitor? Like, you actually have to tell me something that you think I did and then defend that. And like, and I think that's part of what Geraldine's face may have been, is like the looking around, like, what do I do here? Like,
Yeah.
how do I prove I'm not something? You know, it's
Right, like they're not actually accusing me of anything for me to defend myself against.
right. It was just like, I think you're a traitor. And she's like, it's like the question
For
should have been
why?
why exactly.
Right.
She didn't ask that. She just sat there and allowed it to happen. And
You
at
see
the
what
very
Matt
least,
said
she
here?
could have done. No, I did not. There's a lot going
Matt
on.
says if y'all have ever played the game Among Us,
Mhm.
which we definitely have, the show is
I
very
love
similar in
Among Us.
premise, and people get voted off for the exact same reasons, in quotes, reasons. Meaning no reason at all. This actually is just making me want to play Among Us after this.
I love
after we
Among
get
Us.
end the
Yeah,
stream.
I'm just. It actually made me think. Like, I don't understand like why we don't play games like online and stuff. Like, you should like
Mhm.
totally do that. It'd be like so much fun. And like, I also don't play Among Us correctly. Like, I like to play on video chat and like with my friends, and like
Mhm.
I squat up. Like, I usually play with like Matt and Ashley, right? And
Uh-huh.
if like somebody in there is like, oh, I think it's green, but Matt's green. I mean, he could be the imposter. I was going to say the traitor. He could be the imposter, but like, I'm like, don't be talking about my friend. I'm voting you out now. Like, and it's like, meanwhile, then the next turn, like he comes and like murders me, and it's like, oh damn it. Yeah, I don't play that game correct either. But we should do that. We should have like an Among Us night.
Mhm. I'd be here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. That'd be really fun. We'll talk about it in the offline times. So we said goodbye to Geraldine at the end of episode 2. And then we saw our traitors meeting in the turret, discussing now who they wanted to murder next.
Which I also do, just like a quick little aside.
Oh yeah,
I
let's
laughed
slide.
so hard because this reminded me of like a Big Brother season, like something that happened in a previous Big Brother season. Because you see, like, they vote out Geraldine, and everyone's just like, oh man, she was a faithful, that sucked. And Christian's like, Geraldine, she was just so nice. And I think it was Kate was like, what are you gonna give her a eulogy now? Like, what are you talking about? We just voted this girl that we've known for 24 hours out of this game. Like,
Yeah.
why are you crying?
Yeah, she was like, we're gonna have to do this every night. We're gonna have to do this every night. I'm not gonna feel bad about it.
But it just, the way that she like cut it off at the head reminded me of BB11 when Jesse got voted off and they were all crying and like drinking to him as if he had died. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. And they all sat around that table crying, drinking their wine. It wasn't too long after that they stopped giving so much alcohol in the Big Brother house.
I wonder why. But just Kate being like, we're not doing this. Like, we don't know this girl. And she literally just went home. It's fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's fine. We'll get over it. We'll forget all about her tomorrow.
Yeah. She was like, everybody just calm down. Is Alan bringing the wine? Like she was done. She had already moved on.
Done. Had enough.
Oh my God.
It's also important to note around here is kind of also when we started to see Brandy really stepping up and kind of actually peeped out like 2 traitors, right? And that was discussed in this turret meeting. Where's Brandy's
Brandy.
face? Here she is, Brandy Glanville, coming to us from the Real Housewives sub place. But more importantly, she was on Celebrity Big Brother. Okay?
Not the Real Housewives of some place.
Because I couldn't care. I'm gonna give 2 shits about the Real Housewives.
Oh my God.
But I'm happy to see her here. I like Brandy.
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, she's sharp, and I feel like it's probably the circles that she runs in with these Real Housewives that she can tell a fraud and a fake and a phony from a mile away.
I don't want to watch this girl she came from, but I would love to see more of Miss Brandy.
Immediately sussed out 2 of the 3 traitors, and I was like, how on earth did you do that? Like, how did you figure that out?
Right. And what's funny is that the only one that she was off on, right? Because she said Christian and Suri.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then Michael was the other one. And you could argue that Michael was doing himself no favors and making himself very suspicious. So like it's not that crazy. Like
they thought he was a traitor.
Right. Like, if Michael wasn't acting as, suspect, as he was, maybe she would have even looked at somebody like Cody, because I don't remember who it was. It might have been even like Kate, who was working very closely with Brandy, who like one of them said like, oh, well, Cody's a prime suspect because he's already played Big Brother twice. Like they had already even mentioned
Brandy.
Cody. Yeah, like they had even mentioned Cody, but then didn't put him as like one of the 3 traitors they suspected. But like his name was still said, and they were locked in on on the other two. Like that was really
The-
impressive.
The only person that I saw talking about Cody was Rachel, because she was like, I know this man and I know the way he carries himself in conversation, and I can see that he's being a little shady right now, so I know Cody's a traitor.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up because that was something that I had written down. Like, oh my God, Rachel suspecting Cody, like being like, oh yeah, I've gone out with Cody. We've had drinks together. We know each other. I know he's a traitor. like that was one of my favorite moments. Just like that Rachel Cody thing, you know, like
Yeah.
that was very fun. Very fun.
Yeah. Speaking of knowing people, I'd like to also throw this out. So that's for future consideration and conversation. Do you remember that show I was going on about during the summer, that Snake in the Grass?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So now it has popped up on the Peacock. You know, it is a USA Network show. It's finally on Peacock. It did come up as a suggested watch after completing the Traitors. So I have been watching, and I watched the episode that Rachel is on. Very interesting to note. It was Rachel, Janelle, Suri, and Stephanie.
So what? We have to watch that. Just talk about it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a very interesting episode to watch. It was interesting to see who the snake was and how they all interacted with each other. And yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe Janelle was supposed to be involved in this. Was this supposed to be like the introduction to them coming into this world, the NBC?
I mean, if
universe?
3 of the 4 were, I have to imagine Janelle in some way was thought about.
Right, which is like very upsetting. I'd like to know what happened there because, you know, she is the only queen in the Big Brother universe that I put above the Lady Riley.
Yeah.
It's like Princess Rachel, Queen Janelle.
Sure.
So yeah, it's
Janelle's
episode
been
5, Snake in the Grass.
Janelle's been busy, by the way, on social media lately. I don't know if you guys have
yes,
seen.
she has.
Her ongoing battle with
Daniel
BB24
Durstein.
loser Daniel
Ooh.
Durst.
Yeah, I really would like to. Maybe Janelle was the COVID catcher.
Do you
The
have any
way that-
information on this, Gina?
The way that Cody talked about it, it sounded like it was not a celebrity and it was a dude. So
Oh,
Another
I'm gonna
bro.
go with a
huh?
no on
All right.
Janelle.
I felt like the way you said it was very cold. Like it's gonna
Me?
be Janelle, not Janelle, not Janelle.
Oh.
Damn,
Yeah.
damn. Oof,
Damn,
ouch.
Gina.
Oof,
Gee,
oof,
wow.
oof,
Wow.
oof,
Oof.
yeah,
I'm
ow,
sorry.
God.
oof, oof,
You would
oof.
think that you would be glad to know that the Lady Janelle did not contract COVID.
Right, I don't want my baby sick. Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Okay, moving on. So, so they murder Bam. Boo. Who cares?
Truly, who cares? I was
And
like,
honestly,
who is Bam?
he had his teeth were so good. He was a very good-looking man. So, R.I.P. Bam. Murder.
Literally pull him
Yeah.
up because I don't remember what he looks like even.
I thought he was. Wow. Oh man.
I know. Shit. All of a sudden, like you know,
No, it's no shade at him. It is no shade at him.
Robert
It is-
Wow.
he,
Bam.
I don't know.
something.
he was not
Nieves.
in the edit, and then they just killed him off for no reason.
It was all about
And that was-
making chaos.
And yeah, that was why they murdered him because, well, why Bam?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I
Exactly.
didn't have any time to get to know this man.
I thought he was a nice man.
Disgusting.
Matt says discount Pitbull.
Bam.
Oh no!
I thought-
Sorry, Bam.
I thought
Sorry,
Ba-
Bam.
I thought Bam was a nice man. I did.
Opinions shown here are not our own. So we march on to our next mission, right? This is the music mission.
Mm.
We had our music makers that were going off to the chapel to pull on some numbered strings and play a song that they did not know. So they wouldn't know the tempo. They didn't really know what the tune was. They don't really know how to pull. This looks like we're milking. We're milking the others, but it's not. This is
We're
pulling for
milking.
bells. This is pulling for bells. And the rest of our friends inside the castle had to listen to the song, figure out what it was, and then go search for music boxes in the castle matching the song. The music box would have a little dingle hopper spinning about, and then they had to go
Not a
find
dingle hopper.
what was represented on the dingle hopper.
The Dingle Hopper, of course.
Yes, so this was very fun. This is a fun one. Now, my favorite moment actually came from Sir Ryan Lochte. Because
Yes. Yep.
because he said my bell was like ding,
Yes.
and it just sounded like ding, and like I was like, wow, dang, look at me contributing.
Look at me contributing. I was like, this man.
That was a great moment.
Nothing going on. Head empty, no
nothing.
thoughts, just vibes.
So happy. Please say my number next.
Yeah,
Like, it's like so
that was a
great.
great moment.
Yeah.
But I have to say, for me, there were 2 MVPs in this challenge.
Who are the
One-
MVPs?
So there was
Who you
one
giving
each.
awards to.
One each for the bell ringers
Mm.
and the ears. For the ears, it was FORAY. I don't know if you noticed, she was picking up on these songs real quick.
So
Real
I have
quick.
no idea how she was doing it.
I don't know how she was doing
Yeah.
either. I would not.
Because
She
this
was
was
so good.
also one that like you could play at home if you were quicker than them, and I was sitting there listening, like, what the hell song is this?
Mhm. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
And then for the bell ringers
Ringers.
MVP. Yeah.
Bells,
They're M-
bells.
Yeah, the bells. This was the MVP here was Rachel Riley because
Damn right it was. Woo!
right? Because she said right off the bat, she goes, she was like, I'm good at music. But you know what? She actually helped a lot in this because people were like conducting, and they definitely got like some of the more musical people to do this part. But like, as silly as it seemed, and like as funny as it was, like her being silly, being like when that Nutcracker song happened, right?
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, I know this song. It's that doot 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 doot,"
Yeah.
and it's like, look at Rachel Riley being ridiculous, but like that helps the group so much because
Knowing
it's
what
like,
the tempo is
Yeah.
makes it easier for them to
Yes.
hear it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So like
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily say that Rachel Riley is good at music, but like she clearly has a pretty good ear and could pick out what the song was. And then as soon as you
Right.
figure out what the song actually is, now everybody, even if you're not super musical, like you are now better equipped to like sort of contribute to this. And so
Yeah.
Rachel was
Absolutely.
awesome in this. Rachel and they literally got all the money in this, didn't they? I think they completely
so.
like swept this one.
Let's
I
just
think they
make
did.
sure. Yeah, they did. They got all the monies available. $25,000 was up, and they did get it all, increasing the team pot to 75,000. I guess the only objection that I have to everything you just said there, John, is
Wow.
that it. Yeah, well, it seems that everything you said about Rachel came with an air of surprise, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. She is a comp beast, and we know
Of
this
course
about
she is.
Rachel comes in and she shuts it down every single time. She does not miss. Like she is she is everything competitions need. Of
No,
course,
I agree.
she was the one to come in clutch. You're damn right she was. She is Rachel
I agree.
B. Riley. Okay.
I agree. It was just, it was just the reason that I got so excited about it was that like,
Because it was her.
it was just another example of just how like versatile she is.
Oh, yeah.
Where like even you can put her in this musty, dusty chapel, having to pull on this rope and ring a bell, and she's figuring out songs left and right.
Damn right.
Come on.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
the
all it
comment
is.
I wanted to hear as we talk about the Lady Rachel. That's all. Yes. Rachel Riley. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
and so-
yes.
Yes. And from there, so yeah, we added all the money to the pot. Very successful. Very successful. And then we go on inside for our next banishment conversations. And and Brandy obviously pushing Michael very hard. Michael. Which he
Yes.
says, no. How about you? I don't remember any compelling argument though, as far as why they were saying Brandy though. Like we obviously know how this turned out, but like even on a rewatch, it was just like, no, I think it's you. I think it's you. I didn't really catch like a why. Because I think that Brandy performed pretty well in this challenge as well. It's not like she wasn't adding to the pot; she was contributing. Do you remember any like what was it? What was the catalyst for this? I don't really. Other than maybe they just didn't like her and they were like intimidated by her.
Are you talking about banishment or murdering?
The banishment.
Brandy? I think it was just because she was so adamant that somebody else was a traitor. People were like, well, why would you be so like hell-bent on us voting out somebody else unless you were just trying to like get rid of more of our numbers?
Right. Unless I
So
just
people-
think that person's a traitor. Like that's why I didn't really think
But
that
I
was a
think
reason.
because she was so vocal about it, people were like, well, I don't know, maybe you're being so vocal about it because you're trying to like throw us off course.
Which feels ridiculous. I feel like it would
I
be a
mean,
little bit more
it's the only
justified.
thing that makes sense.
Right. Now, yeah. It's just that, like, let's vote out Michael then. And then if he is a faithful, then it's like, hey, now it's you. But it's like, I'm now being sent home because I have strong feelings. Like, that
Well,
sucks.
Yeah.
see, here's something that's interesting too. And like, so
Mhm.
Brandy was, obviously a target, but
Hey.
Michael, I think, was probably one of the biggest targets in the house. But what's interesting here is that Brandy had said the name of two of the traitors, and I did take a tally of the vote in this banishment, and Brandy received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 votes. Michael received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mhm.
So that's 2 votes, 2 extra votes for Brandy as opposed to Michael. Now, 2 of the people that voted for Brandy were Suri and Christian. So like, it's interesting because when you take those 2 votes out of it, it really was 6 and 6 as like Michael and Brandy, 2 people that were making a lot of noise in the house, being equally voted for. So like the faithful were actually, even split on that. The 2 people that actually decided this vote to send Brandy out were the traitors in Suri and Michael. So like it's a very interesting thing here. It's like
Good on you
and
for peeping that.
Oh
yeah,
my
and
god.
That's the peepers.
and it's interesting because like Cody voted for Michael, and like even that, like the traitors kind of like separating their votes, but the 2 people that Brandy has been saying their names, you know what I mean? Like if Brandy hadn't said their names, I guarantee you Michael would have been Michael would have been gone. If she hadn't been as so vocal in saying that I think Suri and Christian are traitors along with Michael, she probably would have been there. You know what I mean? And it's
excellent catch. Excellent catch. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And that is why Brandy left us. You heard it here first on Strat Chat. I'm sure the rest of the world knows I'm just an idiot. Way to go.
Oh my god.
So that's why we lost Brandy. Sorry, girl. Sorry, girl.
Sorry,
too bad.
girl.
Sorry, girl. Too soon for Brandy. I enjoy seeing her. I would love to see her back on
Yeah, I
something.
like her. I like her a lot.
And here's the thing though, because like in the moment, I was really sad to see Brandy go, but in hindsight, if Brandy stayed in the game longer, I don't think we would have gotten the Kate that we got. So I'm like grateful that Brandy left so early because it gave us Kate. You know what I mean?
That is really fair. That is really, really
Yeah.
fair.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Oh man, I had these notes and I wasn't even looking at them. Don't murder me, Quentin says, but like, no problem. You're always wrong. Geraldine has a rough go. Seemingly doesn't know how to emote. From what I could see, not one person spelled Geraldine's name right. We're catching up. We're catching up.
Oh my
And
god.
nobody ever will because she was banished first. That's stupid. Right. So here we are, episode 3, and Brandy's banishment is really what it is, to your point, what began Kate's spiral and her decline. And we started to see it with this. We started to see this. Back to whatever city she Real Housewives in.
I think it's Beverly Hills, right?
I really don't know.
That sounds
Real
right.
Housewife of someplace. So yeah, this is really the catalyst for Kate's spiral. But not before she drops a note.
Oh my god.
She does.
She drops a note.
She does.
For Stephanie to find. Stephanie of Survivor fame. She finds this note with what Kate purports to be, a list of suspected next murders, which Stephanie sees as a list of the next murders because she does believe that Kate is a traitor. Stephanie runs immediately to Queen Suri to tell her about this note.
Amazing.
Of all people.
Of all people. Poor Stephanie.
And can I ask you, do you think, because we brought up Snake in the Grass before, do you think that their relationship on Snake in the Grass is the reason that Stephanie ran to Suri with this note in the first place and why she trusted Suri so much? I haven't even seen Snake in the Grass, but
they apparently, what I had learned from Snake in the Grass is that they have played Survivor together as well. So these are old friends. These are old friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I wondered that. I wondered if they were on the same season.
Oh, wow.
So apparently Suri has played, I believe, like 3 or 4 times. I think she's played 4 times. Stephanie, I know, has played more than once from what I have gathered. but they did play together. I'm sure Matt's typing ferociously. He's
Yeah,
about
so
to get
this
us
really
all-
was a perfect storm, huh?
Yeah, coming
Unbelievable.
into Snake in the Grass, playing together, playing that together, and then this. Yeah.
Oh,
See,
here we go.
So Matt says this is so fun to watch because Steph played old school Survivor without all the advantages in idols, and I think this proves she can sneak a piece of paper.
Yeah, and this piece of paper, it got around, by the way.
Oh, sure did. It sure did. This gave me Jersey Shore vibes.
The note.
Yes. Who wrote the note? You did.
Listen, there is something about the note that is timeless. Every
Right?
time it is ever brought to my attention, it's the funniest thing I've ever heard about.
So good.
It always
So good.
lands.
Look at all these facts. Look at all these facts.
Look at this. Thank
Yeah.
you, Matt.
Damn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I definitely want to see the season they played together. So that would be season 20. I'm intrigued by that.
Is Matt like the official Strat Chat fact checker?
He's the Survivor fact checker. Because
Okay.
Strat Chat Survivor fact checker.
The official
yeah,
Strat Chat
get
Survivor
much,
fact
checking
checker.
from him by way of the Amazing Race or anything. But Survivor, absolutely.
Okay.
Our
All right.
expert. Our expert. So yeah, so I guess that's really it for that. She goes to Suri. Oh, and Suri brings this information, obviously, to the other traitors in the turret.
Which, like, not for nothing, how stupid can you be to write names of people in the house and write murder on top of the paper and think no one will ever find this? Like, how, like, why would you write that? Why would you write it? Just like write lists of people's names, sure, but like don't put a header on it like that. Like, what are you doing?
I don't disagree. Go ahead.
I wouldn't write anything down in this game, in this house.
at the
I wouldn't
very
write a single
least-
thing down anywhere ever.
At the very least, if it didn't say murder on top, you could say these are the list of people that we're suspecting to be traitors. Like you can flip it in a different direction. But to list it like murder, this name, cross that out, this name, like it looks like a hit list.
Absolutely. It does.
I just feel like if you have a piece of paper that somebody sees you drop and it's got people's names on it, whether it says murder or not, the second somebody finds that, you're going to be like, oh no, well, this is people that I think are faithful, or this is people that I might think are traitors, and it's going to be like, well, what if you're lying to me about what this really is?
I agree.
I'm like, red flag. You have a list of names. Get away from me. You're trying to murder me. Go away.
No, I don't disagree. It's just it's a little easier to talk your way out of if you don't literally title it murder.
Right, but I also think this just speaks to her she is a novice to these types of games. I don't know what Below Deck is. It sounds like I mean, obviously we know it takes place.
It's not a game show.
No, it's not a game show. Whatever this is something, boat related, which is why she was very happy to not have any tasks to complete in the rowboat, in challenge.
It's not like a competition or a game. It's literally just like a reality TV show of people who work on a boat.
Right. She's not going into it with that mind to know that like, hey, I really shouldn't be writing these things down. Like you would never catch, like Rachel or Suri with a list of any kind of names. You know what I mean? So we have people, varying degrees of
experience.
Yeah, absolutely. But this note has no effect, right? Not on the conversations going on in the turret. They decide to leave Kate in the game, right? To be a shield and kind of see how that one plays out. Certainly a scapegoat for the next banishment conversation. So this is where we see we suffer the loss, see the death of Azra, which
was a little surprising to me because I expected them to really lean into that note and pick one of the two people on the note.
I expected that as well. Because it seems like that would have really been a great story to make, and that would have really solidified Kate's exit, I feel. But I wonder if that's even the best news. Yeah, best news, best way to go. Like I think it was good to keep Kate in and kind of not do too much.
Well, because they've been leaving Michael in as a shield. Now they're leaving Kate in as a shield. But the thing is, this note has been made public, and people know that the two names on it were Amanda and what was it? Oh my God, what was it? What was it? Amanda and Shelby.
Oh,
I think it was Amanda and Shelby.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it was Amanda and Shelby. So it's like, okay, well, the same night that the note is made public, that Kate has these two names on here, now somebody gets murdered. It would be almost like two, you know what I mean? It's like
No, that's
no.
fair.
If Kate got called out on it, maybe now she feels like she can't murder one of them because that's what everybody's expecting, or whatever it is. I don't know, or
Yeah, I think it also depends on when it went public that the note was there. Because if people
Kate
found out
didn't
about
get called out until the banishment the following night, if I
Right.
remember correctly.
And that's the thing, like, because then if you did just kind of continue on with her list, it just looks like this was, BAU, business as usual. Like,
wow.
bow. We are already like, she had this list. Yes, she dropped it. She didn't know she dropped it. Business moved forward as said on the sheet. So it could have worked, but I think it worked for them to kind of leave Kate in there because Kate was always a subject of discussion
Sure.
going forward. So like it was always good to have that little deflection there.
Yeah.
Which, like, not to jump the gun on the season too much, but it is baffling to me how many times in those roundtables that Kate was like the #1 suspect, and at no point did we see her getting banished. Like,
No,
I don't
no,
understand.
just leave her. Just leave her there.
They're like, we are 100% certain that Kate's a traitor, so we're just not going to write her
We're
name
just gonna
down.
leave her
And I'm
there.
like,
Like,
what?
whatever. Who cares? Yeah, really crazy. Really, really crazy. Anything more around the Azra murder? The Azra murder.
No.
What is
Just, it was
Gina eating?
another. I have Chex Mix.
What kind? Like Muddy Buddy?
Just this guy. But the bagel chips are back.
Bagel
Oh.
chips.
I don't know that one.
Ah.
I think the bagel chips might be a little bit too hard for my teeth. I have sensitive teeth. Soft thing.
Anyway, the only other thing I was going to
What do
say.
you want me to do?
The only other thing I was going to say is that this was another like weirdly emotional exit. You don't
Was it?
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is where we saw like
John's like,
once-
yeah.
Oh, Angelica.
Yeah,
This is
once
right. Yeah, no,
Azra
you're
got
right.
eliminated,
Angelica, like she literally had to
Angelica
leave
was
the room.
so emotional.
Yeah, she left the room to the point where when Alan came down to breakfast, he started talking, and then Angelica came in, and he was like, "Oh, Angelica, are you all right?" And she sat back down at the table, like,
Because we
and
had
they
seen
like
her.
talked about it. I think.
I think it was in the previous episode because it was when the two of them had left the room because they weren't comfortable with the whole like bickering and talking or whatever that was happening. So they had to like excuse themselves or whatever. And you saw Angelica being like, I just feel comfortable with her because even though she doesn't talk to a lot of people, like, and that's when she had her whole thing of like, I'm a hairdresser, so it makes people comfortable talking to me because when people get their hair done, it's like therapy for them. So like people just feel comfortable openly talking about this kind of stuff. So she was like the only person that Angelica felt a connection to. So then to see her go, she was like, I don't connect to these people. I'm not comfortable with these people. I don't know who I have in this game anymore.
Yeah.
Which I do wonder, because she has the connection to Tommy and this podcast, and I genuinely don't remember if they podcasted about All Stars or not. I wonder if she had any kind of relationship with Cody before, even if they just like had met in passing briefly.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if like they at all had any kind of a connection to each other as well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
I'd love to ask
certainly
you that if you get
possible.
the opportunity. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well,
Because that certainly adds like another layer. But then I also don't know that like, did we even see anything that would even be worth rewatching? Like there was no conversation between like the two of them that I even thought would suggest something like that. I don't even remember them like directly conversing, but of course we don't.
I mean, I remember he like ran to comfort her when she was crying over the Azra thing. I remember, and then like he does like say something about her later in an episode that we haven't discussed yet. But like, I don't know. Like, I have to wonder in shows that are formatted like this how much we're missing out on in the edit as well.
Yeah. That was what was fun about talking to some people like from the Mole, like to kind of ask some of those questions because like all that kind of stuff, it really, really intrigues me. You don't have so many of those questions, around Big Brother because you can watch so much.
Right.
But these are interesting because those exchanges and those relationships and who you have a little bit of a rapport with definitely does have an influence on the game. Like, whether you want to admit it or not, like,
especially because like you see for a lot of these reality stars, they in some way, shape, or form either know each other or know of each other. But for the
Mhm.
other side of the house, it's very interesting to see like what kind of makes the difference for them,
Right.
because they have so little to go on.
Yeah, and we got so little of them edit-wise that, like,
Right. And like
you
that's what
really
I'm
have no
interested
idea.
in. I'm interested in
Mhm.
seeing people who don't know each other from a hole in the wall, who we don't know from anything, figure
Right.
each other out. Like
Yeah.
that was part of what was fun for the mole, is trying to watch them all suss each other out when they'd never seen each other before, you know?
Yeah.
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 I think you'll enjoy Australia and UK for that reason, because that is what you got with that. They were all strangers.
Mm.
Do you think our game would have been better if they were all strangers, or are you happy that we got the split cast?
I don't want to say better. I definitely think that it would have been different if we had all strangers, but I also like wonder, because like I don't know, people don't watch things in this country. Like I feel like the first season you almost needed to put these celebrities in there to give people a reason to watch it. And then like now if we get a season 2, which I feel like we should, um,
Right.
then I would really very much like for that to be all strangers, like all like totally like brand new people.
And I've heard a
Um,
couple people speculating too that this was kind of like
the trial.
the test run of like, are people going to be interested in this if we like throw people they already know on screen to make them watch, and then they see it's a good show,
Mhm.
and then we throw in a bunch of newbies.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's what the case is. Yeah.
Because I would love a cast where it's all new people that we don't know, and they've all done very memorable things. But I feel like while there were some good newbies in this, and I do remember certain moments, I feel like all the most memorable moments to me anyway from the season are from the people I already knew.
Right.
Like people like Rachel and Sari and Cody and Kate and Brandy. It's like I'm not super familiar with Below Deck or Real Housewives, but like I do know who I already knew who Kate and Brandy were coming in. Like so even the people I didn't really know, I was still familiar with, like
Right.
those celebrities. And I feel like all the really memorable moments of the show that I can think back on are from them as opposed to the newbies. But I think there were some good newbies in there. That's why I feel like it kind of stinks that they don't get the shine that the
Yeah.
celebrities do.
Mm. I didn't know any of these other people. I only knew the Big Brother and Survivor people. I did not know Kate. I don't know anything about anybody's Below Deck. I don't even know what it. I still don't know what it is. I understand it's on Bravo? Question mark? Question
Mhm.
mark?
Yeah, the Bravo Alliance.
Yeah, but I saw that there were like 8 seasons of it or something. So I don't know. Sorry, Kate. That's a lot. That's a lot. Is she on all 8? Like you actually watch Below Deck? Like
That I
what
don't
is
know.
it? Or they just
Me?
work on? No, John, since he said he knew
Oh.
Kate.
I don't really watch it. I've just seen clips or commercials or
I've seen it when like I'll go visit at home and my mom is watching it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So the mission in episode 4, this is that one with the wheel and like I don't know,
the
Oh,
carnival,
yes.
the creepy
answering
carnival.
the superlative questions and stuff. I don't.
Do you think
like
they
this
really
one at all.
do you think they really learn anything from this?
No,
No.
I don't
Right?
understand the point of this whatsoever. I don't like
'Cause
this
you even
challenge
saw-
at all.
You even saw that whole segment, right, where all the questions are like, who do you think lies the most? Who do you think is the most sketchy? Who do you think is this? Who do you think is that? And everyone is answering Michael because everyone's suspicious of Michael, to the point where even Michael is answering Michael because he just
Right.
knows that everyone is going to say Michael. So it's like, how much are you actually learning here? Because then, like, even in the car ride back after the challenge, they're all like, oh, that really told us a lot. That really shed some light on
not
this or
giving you
that.
it's not giving anybody any information that they're not already very open about in the banishment roundtables.
Right. Yeah. I didn't really care for this at all. But people spun around. They answered questions about each other, and they banked $19,900, which Alan scoffed at. So it was rounded up. It was rounded up. Later on, he did not like the number was off. So that's it on that. And now this banishment. I didn't get to rewatch this, and this feels like it was very long ago.
I
Well,
genuinely don't remember which one this was offhand.
Yes.
Like,
This
Well,
was
this is the
they bring
banishment where we
they
saw
bring the
Michael
note
leave.
up. They bring the note up.
The note
Yeah.
comes up. Okay. And what do they say about this note now?
Well, so
'Cause I had
Stephanie,
forgotten all about the note until I was rewatching this. I was like,
right?
oh, that feels like years
Stephanie,
ago.
Mhm.
yeah, Stephanie sort of confronts Kate about it, and it's funny because Stephanie starts it off and like starts talking about it, and like I don't know. The whole like presentation of it just felt funny to me because like obviously we know Stephanie's the one that found it, and then she went to
Mhm.
Suri, and then Kyle ended up with it somehow, and Stephanie was like, "Hi, Kate. I'd like to say something." You know, like it was just it almost felt like an intervention. It was like,
Yeah.
"Hi, Kate. You know, we're all here." Like that's what it felt like. It was like, and she started like talking about this note, and then Kyle's like, "For anyone that hasn't seen it," and he like unfolds it, and then like
Very
shows
dramatic.
like, you know, it's got Amanda's name on it, it's got Shelby's name on it, it's got the word murder on it, it's got, you know, all this stuff. Um, and then this is like when Quentin, I feel like really like digs in on like he's just always going to suspect Kate and vote for her every single banishment like ever because he's like super suspicious of her. And then Kyle sort of like speaks up and puts the spotlight back on Michael, and the whole vote, everybody votes for either Michael or Kate.
Yeah.
Um,
This was
and
11 for Michael, though. He really got smoked.
yeah, he did.
Mhm.
Um, and something that I noted on this from Michael being banished, and it wouldn't have made a difference because Michael got so many votes. But what I thought was interesting was that
Mhm.
both Amanda and Shelby, the two people whose names were on the note that Kate had written, they
Mhm.
both voted to banish Michael. So this whole big spectacle of like Stephanie found this note and she gave it to Suri, and then Kyle got it, and now it's brought up at banishment, and everybody's talking about it. Literally, the two people whose names were on it didn't even vote for Kate to leave.
Mm.
They both
I didn't
voted for
even notice
Michael.
that.
I didn't notice that either, but completely unfazed.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
So all this going on about the note, really not impactful. Not impactful.
Nope.
No. And what's funny about this, I know we're not getting into it, but you mentioned Quentin like now going on, and then how now this kind of got him on the Kate train. That's not even who he ended up voting for the next time.
yeah.
Which is also interesting, but that's a conversation for another time.
Mhm.
But yeah, that kind of wraps up episode 4, because like the next murder is really part of 5. So,
Sure.
we
Yeah.
won't go into that one. We won't get into that one. So that's the beginning, of the Traitors US. What do you think, Jeans? You like this show? Did
Oh,
you
I
have a
love
good
it.
time? No, she had a good time. Yeah.
The only thing that I couldn't decide, and I don't know if this is like because I saw them all first,
Mhm.
that the whole time I was like, what was so much fun to me about the mole is that I was also trying to suss out who the mole was. Where like right from the get, they told me who the traitors were, and I couldn't
Mhm.
decide if I prefer seeing the strategy of how they're doing the killings versus me not knowing who it is either. And I
How
kept
do you
going back
feel
and forth
now?
of like, I still can't really
Oh,
decide.
you still
I
can't
think
decide.
I think it's interesting both ways, but I don't know if I would rather not know.
I like that I know, because I like the second layer of the game, because the next half of this, it's not, yes, in the beginning, the traders want to operate as one unit and kind of protect each other. Then you
Mhm.
start to see cracks. Those people like, you know what? I don't really want to split this. I could take this for myself. So like you end up, and it didn't play as much in this season. And in UK and Australia, we saw a little bit more of this, but it's like, I don't want to outwardly be working against another trader, because if I
Mhm.
swing and I miss, now I have to face you
Sure.
after that. So like, I do like that extra bit of the game, and you would miss
Mm.
that if we didn't know who they were.
I mean, seeing the
Yeah.
strategy of why they're doing what they're doing is fun. I enjoy
Yeah,
like seeing
yeah,
all of like the
yeah.
sides to it.
Yeah.
I like seeing
And
the traders work against each other a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I like
totally
that.
agree. I totally agree with you, Kyle. And I like the fact that we can see as the traders are making these decisions, right? Because I agree with you, Kyle, like what you said way earlier about you don't really buy Cody actually feeling bad about murdering these people and all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like I totally agree with you on that, but I do believe that somebody like Siri is like actually does feel bad and actually does have connections. So I like to see the emotional side of it, where it's like, You have somebody who's just making these decisions because they feel like this is what they have to do to win the game, but they actually love this person, but it's just totally strategic decision with the heart taken out. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I love that you get to see the strategy side of it, and then the emotional side of it, and then you get to see like somebody like Christian who like he seems to enjoy the murdering a little too much. Like it's like, dude,
This boy talks
calm
too
down.
much. Stop
Yeah.
talking. Stop
He
talking.
definitely talks. He talks way too much. He talks way too much.
So nervous and anxious about the whole thing.
And
Yeah.
like there are some people that kind of cue in on it, but not nearly enough for my liking. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are more people
Yeah.
not talking about him?
No.
Yeah. But I like knowing who everybody is. I do. I
Me
do.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I love to see all the strategy out in the open. I love it.
Yeah, it's very fun. I enjoy.
Yeah.
So what do we have next? Obviously, we're continuing on with the Traitors on Friday, right? Friday at midnight.
Yes.
Episodes 4 through 8. And then we're gonna wrap this sucker up on Monday at 9:30. But first, we've got the Challenge 38 on Thursday at 9:30. I think we're Finale Eve we discussed, right? Finale Eve.
I believe
Challenge.
so.
I think yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
We're kind of deducing that. They haven't said yet, but I have to imagine it feels right.
What it feels. That is what it feels. Yeah.
My assumption is that on the next on of this week's episode, they're going to say next week on the finale. That's my assumption. Yeah.
I would assume the same. Yes. Yeah. And then we do have to talk offline to kind of suss out what we think we're doing with Australian Survivor, ?
Yes.
Yeah. And are we definitely doing it? I'm definitely watching.
I'm definitely watching also. Definitely watching.
All right. So we'll see how that one goes. I mean, anything else to the benefit of the community before we wrap this sucker up?
Just thank you, Alan Cumming, for being such a spectacular host. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful.
That's the only thing I have to say.
A murder. And he's so disrespectful.
Go ahead, put on your best Scottish accent.
That's the best I got. That was all you get. I do like how disrespectful he is throwing the pictures when people are like banished or murdered.
And we were talking about this last night too. Like, I laugh at every word that comes out of this man's mouth, and everybody else on this show unfazed. Like they're just like operating as if nothing is happening and everything is like tense and so dramatic. I'm like, why are you not laughing at that? He's so funny.
Yeah.
I do think I saw them laughing sometimes, but I do also genuinely think that like this cast, whether you were just a totally unknown newbie or like a reality star from something else or something, I feel like they were really into the game, this cast, which I actually really appreciated too. Yeah. Like even like like just even people that like were celebrities that like are successful, have been on other shows, have other businesses that like probably make decent money, that are just on the show because they're like an interesting person, like that they don't necessarily need this $250,000 like everybody else. Like it just seemed like they were genuinely all into the game, which I really, really like to see.
It's refreshing. Well, except for Kate. But yes.
Kate, yeah. Well, Kate, she came in and out, but I think in the end, we can all talk. Yeah,
she had her moments for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday night stream is going to be not a great ride for Kate. Those were not her shining moments.
It's going to be wild.
Well, they were. But
I can't wait. Yeah. I cannot wait.
But okay, you can find us on the socials at StratChatPod or on our website at stratchatpod.com. And like, subscribe, share with your friends, and come hang out. Thursday at 9:30 for the challenge, and then Friday. Well, we said 11:59 p.m. because we don't want any confusion. Okay.
Friday going into Saturday.
What midnight? No, it's Friday night into Saturday. All right. Thank you very much. And that's it. Thanks for hanging. We're outies. Time for bed.